Koger, could you assign us character sheets so that
Oh, yeah.
I can edit it?
No, not at all.
I mean,
let's see. I think you're the straggler. I think the other two probably have it already.
Look, I said us so that I wouldn't be singled out.
I can't let you slide. I'm sorry.
Are there character sheets in Roll20?
Yeah. So you don't. It's literally just so you can grab the macros. You don't have to put anything in there. So you see you should have on Roll20 attack, defend, attribute, and skill buttons on the bottom. If you click one, you throw in your modifier, and it'll roll it for you, and then it'll tell you, botch, grind, or success, and then kind of what the modifier is.
What is this?
So I ran an attack roll, I hit a grind, which means I hit, I dealt damage, I added 1 threat.
Where can I find these?
Yeah, I should have played around with this beforehand. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. All right, so you're in Roll20, right?
Yes.
All right, just below your little character icon avatar, there should be showing you 4 little macro buttons.
Where is my character?
Just on the list of players. Sorry. Like, do you see Critical Mist, Wythe, Christopher West on your main screen? Is there anything under there?
There sure is.
I do not have any macros.
So then, let's see. That's very strange.
You're listening to the dulcet tones of What is Roll20? A new podcast from the creators of Why We Roll.
So on the top right, you've got a little suite of buttons. You're going to click on, looks like...
the macro button.
The macro button. And then you're going to click on Show Macro. Click.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize it was not on by default for each person. So
now, I still do not see it.
I saw it, I have a black void. Maybe I'm going to refresh and see if that does anything for me.
Should I refresh?
Yeah, give it a shot.
I will too.
It did not.
Great. So we're gonna play Grindcore. So maybe Wes, Chris, while we're trying to get our macros, do we need macros to play? Also, just to have D6 next to me. I can just roll D6, right?
If you want to roll D6, that is perfectly fine.
I do not see.
Yeah.
And your little show macro quick bar is clicked now.
Yes, but it's not giving me anything.
That is exciting.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be a Roll20 issue, not a.
Are y'all on Chrome?
Yes.
I'm on Chrome.
I love Roll20. It's the best.
It's the best.
Dude,
this is what I pay extra money for my pro account for.
Right. For it not to work.
Yeah, exactly.
I can make myself a macro for myself.
Nah, it's all right. I mean, you can just roll dice. So it gives you it reads you your result, and then it gives you the little reminders as far as what exactly it meant, if there's any little modifiers.
Yeah, so I figured it out. You would have had to have given us the code for the macro before. It is not it's not a game. It's not for the entire game. It's for you personally. Because I can make my own, and it shows up. Like, I can put them in the bar.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. But
cool.
Okay.
At any rate.
Well, why don't we just get going?
Yeah.
In the interest of time with the.
Yeah, I got my character sheet.
The game.
Yeah.
Prepared.
Well, then I'm gonna do this. We don't even need Roll20 then. We have dice. We have paper. We have all the things in real life that you need to play games.
Should I not share Roll20 then?
Yeah, I guess you don't really need to.
Okay.
We're gonna go full theater of the night, baby.
Cool. Let me know if you have images that you like. I was assuming maybe you had maps or something, but we can just reshare it when I'll follow your lead if there's stuff you want to.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna go all theater of the mind now, baby. Use your imaginations, your language centers.
If you have maps, you can present them as well, Chris, and it'll show up.
Cool.
Much how it was before. Like, so, any visuals, you can just click present.
Awesome. Thank you guys. All right. So I guess we'll do a quick Grindcore roll down. Did we do that earlier while I was working out tech issues?
We've not done anything. So yeah, why don't you guys kick us off and walk us through as though we know nothing. We did read the quick start and make characters, but
awesome.
Yeah, why don't you take everyone through, especially so if someone's listening later to a slightly edited down podcast version of this, you know, they start with the good stuff, with how the game works.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So Grindcore is basically a 3d6 system that gives you a result of a fail or a botch, a grind, which mathematically most people will end up in, which is a success with a little bit of a cost, and then a full success for a surge, which usually gives you a bonus. The setting that we're playing in right now, tentatively called Veil Thinners, is very much reminiscent of like low fantasy, influenced by manga like Berserk or Claymore, big demons, bad things on the earth, technologies very little. And you play as these, namesake Veil Thinners, which describe that as in the ancient past, all of the bad stuff was on the world. Something happened this loss of time that locked it all behind this veil, which is not an uncommon concept in a lot of this kind of thing. But stuff still kind of is able to pierce the veil, come through to the other side at times. Your character is someone who's, been touched or influenced or affected by things that have come across the veil, these demons and these creatures before. The bonus of that is you now have powers that are tied to kind of this mystical wall in between you and all the bad stuff. So you get to do cool abilities or, breathe fire or, cast spells or be, extra sensory perception, all this kind of stuff. But at the cost of your stamina. So your own life, kind of basically feeds your abilities. Benefit is you can thin the veil, which means in the kind of area that you're in, you can suck power off of this wall in between you and all the bad stuff to then rejuvenate yourself and keep going and doing all of your cool stuff at maybe the cost of making it so thin that stuff starts to break through again. So there's that push-pull there. Every time that you want to suck up some more juice, maybe also though something comes through with that juice, to kind of make the situation a little bit scarier.
And mechanically, so we're rolling 3d6 and usually adding from -2 to +2 based on our attributes, and then some other things are going to happen, like the grind that you'll walk us through, surges. There's various powers, but that's kind of the basic, right? With 3d6. How does thinning the veil work so that we know before Chris and I just start, summoning demons to like, I really wanted to craft this candelabra.
No, absolutely. So before we get to that, I guess what we'll do is we'll touch on the idea of threat. Threat is similar to like a clock. So you have your encounter threat, you have your daily threat, and then you have your session threat. These all roll over with encounter being the smallest, then daily, and then your session. So encounter threat, when you roll a grind, which you get what you want, you add 1 threat to this counter. If you roll a botch, which is you failed, you add 2. Once you hit or clear 6, it resets back down to 1. And then on your encounter, the threat, it's threat, encounter threat, daily threat. Sorry, I just changed the names, but yeah. Your encounter threat will pop up now. Every time the second kind of measure of threat pops up, I do something in the encounter to make your lives a little harder. So it's a trigger for me to add complications. Also, in combat, whatever your encounter threat has gotten to, that second level, we're adding that much damage to enemy attacks. So as things get worse, your enemies hit harder until you can kind of clear that situation. When you walk away from an encounter into the next whatever it is, that all clears away. The only one that doesn't clear is that third level, that daily threat. As you ping that up, if it ever gets up, that's basically for me to go, something very bad has happened to really complicate your lives. And if you somehow push that encounter threat up to 6, it's kind of end of the world situation, So we try to clear that out, and then in between sessions, that would clear back down. On that 3rd level. So 3 levels of threat. The first one goes up, and then the second one determines complications and damage coming at you. So what we do is, when you thin the veil, you suck up all of the stamina points that you need, which stamina points kind of power your abilities. You tap it back up. So you're good, you're golden, you can do anything that you want, but you roll on a table, and you roll a roll plus that daily threat. So if you've been ticking it up, it makes that roll worse. And that tells us, hey, is everything okay? Or has, you maybe made the encounter a little bit worse because the energies from across the veil coming, to even maybe you split it open and certain levels of minions have started coming across.
Gotcha.
Excellent. So there's a level of randomness to threat.
So it generates on a 1 or grind and on a 2 for botch. So that is consistent. But when you thin the veil, it is random as far as what comes out, from the other side, what that consequence was.
Cool. So random for you as well, right? Random for all of us.
Yeah. So, if you roll horribly, then, I might go, oh, okay, cool. You just accidentally rendered a little portal through the veil. And now D3, minion level veil spawn are going to come across.
Awesome. Well, I think we should dive in and just get going with story for the time.
Absolutely. So I'll tell you what, I've got Dr. Thackeray Monocle here as one of my characters, and they are a thug, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. And hit points 12, SP 20, yes?
Yes, I rolled a 6, I think, on one of the things, and then I rolled a 4 on the other. But yeah, I took some extra SP by having a death mark, because I wanted to have a lot of skills for my charlatan.
Absolutely. So that's Thackeray. So, Chris, who is your character?
I am playing Emra. She is a warrior sentinel. Cool. With 14 HP and 17 SP. I think I said earlier she's part glistening steel, part steely glare. That's what I'm looking for.
Nice.
But all woman.
I love it. Yeah, you are a sentinel. Good business. And Wes, what about you?
I'm playing Kraden, the Whisperer, so it's a conjurer subtype. Cool. I don't know what my stats are yet. I will message them to you shortly.
No worries. A conjurer whisperer.
What a well-rounded party we have.
I know. Did y'all even talk? Is this all random? Everyone just bring their business.
Mine's not random, but they're too.
I've been talking to everybody who'll listen about Dr. Thackeray Monocle, so...
Yeah.
I based mine purely on Wythe's choice, and then I was like, I don't know the setting enough to get into like being an acolyte or anything like that, so I'm gonna go straight,
Nice.
Smacking stuff.
Cool. Yeah, we won't get into lore, all of that stuff, just like we're gonna create it as we go. Basically, right now, that it's very low fantasy, low tech. That there's baddies around. It's very rural, agrarian. And then that's kind of all you need to know.
Great.
And then we can kind of get rolling here. So I'm going to ask y'all a few questions to get us kind of going. In the scenario. All right. And this goes kind of to my style. So how long have y'all been wandering in this forest now?
I'm going to say 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That sounds right.
Cool. I love it. What was the first sign that maybe something was more wrong than y'all thought?
Bunch of dead birds.
Dead birds.
Birds specifically choked on giant land snails, giant spiky land snails.
Cool. Well, awesome. Every single dead bird has a giant spiky land snail in it. Cool.
Even a bird that you didn't think could eat a giant spiky land snail.
Yeah, like a hummingbird. It's just chest is exploded with this land snail. Yeah,
I love it. What's one of the smells that y'all keep coming across?
Like a sweet
go
pineapple, like something sweet and pleasant, but like why would it be here? And it doesn't seem like it would be in this kind of forest.
Star anise.
Oh, star anise. Yeah, Chris. Maybe we each have a smell. What's your smell, Chris?
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Geez, that's a good question. Okay, so something sweet, star anise. I'm gonna go with rotting fish. We're in a forest. Where you get the rotting fish smell from? I don't know.
The snails, I think. But
damn it.
I love that
no.
Other two were like rather pleasant, and somehow you got rotting fish. You know, in the drop there. That's pretty rough.
Tough life.
Every once in a while, you catch something on the edge of your vision that when you try to look fully at it, it's gone. What is it?
I don't know. I never see it.
I love it.
Maybe like a semi-humanoid figure. Maybe that's the most I can get.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm picturing like halfway between like a lemur and like a Sasquatch, like a young teen Sasquatch, but also maybe it's leathery and like slimy a little bit, like a kappa. So like maybe none of us we all see slightly different aspects of it, and none of us can agree. Yeah. But strong cryptid vibes is what I got a UFO shirt on, so
nice. I love the fact that, like, you know, in the edge of my head now, y'all are almost like cryptid hunters that have been, you know, like lost in the forest for 2 weeks, always seeing something on the edge of your vision, smelling different smells the entire time.
I love that. We're like early modern Mythbusters or whatever the local believes. We're gonna solve this problem of the whatever forest lemur, whatever.
What is the charm that you were given before you came into the forest?
I completely forgot to write that down, but I'll tell you in a moment.
Oh, just make it up. Sorry, this is a on the spot. Yeah.
A lemur's paw. That's why a lot of people think it's a lemur.
Cool.
And all the fingers have been
contracted
down except the middle finger. So it's just
It's pretty good.
Amazing.
It's pretty good. Did we all get a charm, or is it? There's a charm for the party. I'm gonna say that I received a small doll made out of twigs, but there's like something about the anatomy that's off.
Nice. So we've got a lemur's paw. We've got our doll.
And I think I have like a tin of biscuits that has printed on it the equivalent of, a utopian town for peace, like a town motto, that I think is tied to some sort of like mystical city of gold, but is probably just from like a baker in a town that I've never been to that's relatively far away, but not like mystically far away. But I'll leave it to you, the GM, Chris Koger, as to whether that is actually a clue or I'm just really dumb.
Yeah. I love it. And what is the clue that you're looking for that lets you know that you're close to your destination in the forest?
I think that's a good question. If we go with the cryptid hunter or the monster hunter kind of vibe, Maybe there's like a specific slime trail, kind of like with the snails.
Maybe the lemur eats the snails normally.
Or they've been cultivating them. We have all these hypotheses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the guy with the rabbits.
Yeah.
I'm also looking for this town with this mystical bakery, which is probably just a normal bakery in a town that's not in the deep forest.
It's a normal bakery in a normal town. We keep telling you.
But again, leaving it to you.
That's fantastic. Cool. See, this is the fun about starting a game like this too, because I was like, all right, this is all of the setting now. This is where we are. This is what we're doing. So, thanks for the ideas and the work.
I'm so tired now. I gotta go.
We've burned all of Chris's mental energy.
Yeah,
now.
that's it.
Sorry, guys. That's the
Thanks.
end.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for having us. All right, good times. All right, cool. Well, yeah. So it is always a little bit dark in a section of forest where you are, even when it should be day. The coverage, is very thick. The trees, stretch where you can't quite see the tops of the canopies, at this point. You've come across now every sort of bird that lives in this forest that you've come across is dead. It makes things very quiet here now because you don't, hear the sounds of bird calls. You don't hear the flutter of wings, from branch to branch. It's pretty still most of the time. There's just like the lightest bit of breeze that comes through. You do get kind of a golden hour, haze and switch of colors when it's daytime here, and then as it shifts to night, it's extremely dark. And you've been in that kind of golden hour haze for a chunk of time, and you're probably heading, towards nighttime in the next hour or two. How have you all been handling camping? Out in this like almost pitch black.
I think we sit in the dark a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. I have Emra has no camping gear whatsoever, other than 3 torches and a tinderbox.
Yeah.
So,
you do have a tinderbox. Okay.
Yeah,
I grabbed
more
than
that
me.
was my question.
Yeah, I grabbed a tinderbox for the torches, but yeah, maybe we have some nice like open air campfires in the woods. It's actually quite cozy.
I'm definitely using. I have candles. I'm constantly writing stuff in this big book. You all know that I am able to cast magic, so you might think it's a spell book. It's absolutely not. It's just like my journal of
dear diary.
Dear diary.
Today.
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. Yeah. And with a little flint and tinder box, you can absolutely make fires. There's definitely undergrowth here, lots of kind of fallen limbs and everything. So fire hasn't been, an issue for y'all at all. But the quiet is kind of maybe now the most, unsettling part of what's going on. Because usually y'all have, you wandered from place to place, town to town through different things. And usually at night, things kind of come alive, and in here, it's just almost like someone's wrapped a blanket, over the world where you are. You do catch, on the edges of your vision, occasionally, something that you can't quite see when you look. Like you say, there's nothing really there. The longer that you've been in the forest, the more that you see it, and the more that you catch it during the daytime. Now at night, you are, which you hadn't before, starting to see kind of eyes, glowing out in the bits of the forest in a different way, kind of watching you and looking back at you, which with the lemurs that kind of populate this area, seems to maybe make sense and kind of track here. As you head towards the end of this day, you are now kind of seeing a little more evidence. You've only seen dead snails so far, and only in the throats of these birds with the spikes protruding, outward, even with birds that wouldn't normally eat insects, or anything. So something is, going pretty wrong here as far as you can tell. Besides the spikes here that come out, there's also almost these little like threads that come out as well that are kind of fleshy and pierce into the body of the birds, all over. Who was the first one of y'all that touched one of the birds or messed with it, either physically or prodding it with something?
It's got to be the rat man,
right? I was gonna say it was I was gonna say it was Emra because mostly because she has an intellect of -1. And
Okay, yeah.
I think that she would just kind of be like, "Oh, great." Maybe we do it together. We do it together. Yeah, we do it at the same exact time.
Yeah.
Your hands touch at a meet cute moment.
Meet cute.
I think I'm like batting your hand away.
Rubbing of a finger. Yeah.
I'm describing a fake medical procedure that I'm going to perform because I'm always trying to really overperform that I'm a doctor. And I'm definitely just like an assassin. I also claim to be able. I claim that I call them tail folk. I think everyone else calls us ratkin, but I claim so. I'm like a 4 foot tall Steve Buscemi, but a rat in clothes with like thieves' tools, and like I'm dressed as a doctor. I think I've fashioned a shitty stethoscope out of like thread, and like acorn shells. But I claim that I know what I'm doing. And we're called tail folk, but you all think of us as ratkin. And yeah, I think Emra, I think we have like a friendly banter thing going on. So yeah, we both just go for it.
Yeah,
if that's cool with you.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
You get out of the way. I saw it first.
we all saw it at the same time. I smelled it before you. We have a keen sense of smell.
But you know that doesn't count.
Who says it doesn't count?
I do.
Nice. As your fingers first graze, is then you both, kind of grab it. You get a pulse as all of the muscles of the bird kind of kick back in, almost as if it's alive again. And you smell the smell that each of you are smelling that's different, whether that's sweet pineapple for Dr. Thackeray or rotting fish, for Emra. You catch even Creighton just a little waft of star anise, as you're a couple feet away from, what's going on. And these spikes extend out a little bit more, just a bit, but these little kind of meaty threads that have worked their way into the body all kind of pulse, as this smell comes on, and this thing kind of reanimates for a moment, and then kind of deteriorates, out from your hand, and hits the ground again.
Emra's just like retching. She's like, and like kind of reflexively just lets it drop. It's like, at least we know where that smell's coming from. Now we know how to avoid it, right? Right, guys? You smell that too, right?
Yeah, like pineapple. Oh, sorry. What was that?
I was saying that I enjoy the smell. I don't know why you would want to avoid it.
Why do you enjoy the smell of rotting fish? You guys confuse me.
There's something wrong with your nostrils, Emma, I think.
I'm not the sharpest sword in the chest, but God.
That's true. Wes, what is your character's name?
Creighton.
Creighton. Got it.
Yep.
Amazing.
I'm still dissecting it with some lockpicks, but
with the lockpicks, I love it. Yeah, kind of pulling it apart. And you can
basically.
Yeah, so as you see it, you see that as it was swallowed out from its body, all of these spikes came out from the snail, and then with it, is this pocket of kind of now like slightly moving, almost very thin, kind of meaty entrails that then I've like locked into the bird to give it some sort of animation. It looked, even as you picked it up, as it kind of extended out, like it was trying to grab onto whatever was moving or touching it, so that could maybe find a new home to move on into or spread in some way. Thankfully, both of y'all stayed clear, from now, just from the startlement.
Do we know anything about these snails? Have we seen them outside of this forest, or is this just something that like only exists here and now?
That's a great question. It is a here and now. It is a very local, sort of situation here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it absolutely is. You get these kind of strange pockets in the world where the flora and the fauna become hyper specific to, this one patch of land and area. In a way, so that you could then wander, maybe a few days to somewhere else, and there are some common animals, but then you would see things that you had never seen before, almost in these kind of hyper evolved specific little areas across the world.
Gotcha. So this forest is getting annihilation-aided.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. A great way to look at it. Yeah, for sure.
Or some people might call it Area X.
Yeah.
Forest X. How many more?
Forest, yeah, Forest X. Yeah. This is fantastic. So it's time to kind of settle camp. Things have gotten pretty dark here. I guess we can cover, how y'all handle watches, and the like, as far as things go through the night.
Yeah, sounds good. I think Emra would volunteer to take first watch, being a sentinel and whatnot. Her training kind of always. She's not very smart. She's not very empathetic necessarily. She's not a good friend. But she just has this training that kicks in when someone around her is in danger, and that also extends to like always being the first to be like, I'll take first watch. I got this. Don't worry. You guys get some sleepies or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what we call them. Sleepies. That's canon.
Yeah, that's canon.
Yeah.
It's not sleep. It's sleepies.
Nope. Nobody says sleep.
I also love that, like, y'all as a trio of people are existing on your own wavelength in this like dark and grim, like filthy, grimy fantasy world.
Dude, this is just Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this seems fine.
Ever since the eclipse, I don't know. It's this totally normal.
Yeah. So we'll head to that first watch. How does Emra like kind of pass the time? As you're waiting for your like kind of 2 to 3 hours to go by.
Yeah, I would say she definitely dons her shield and just like holds a torch up uncomfortably high for the entire time, and then maybe annoyingly so, but like just basically like walks in a circle around the campfire and her sleeping party mates. Like still wearing her full heavy armor, which I've decided is like a half plate with chain underneath it. So you hear this like for the entire time that she's on watch.
Is the circle very consistent?
Yes, it is extraordinarily consistent. Like some nights she even creates like a desire path, where it's just like, damn, you really trod the same ground over and over again.
I love it. So we are going to move into a couple of things right now and start interacting with our system a little bit. One sec while I grab my business here.
Can I ask a design choice question?
Absolutely, please do.
Did you decide on a 3d6 system solely so that there's a chance that somebody rolls 666?
No, actually, but that is a good question. And I did laugh that is like the highest roll that you can make. You know,
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but it was kind of two things. I like the curve of it, you know, and how it distributes, and it really sits you in kind of the grind. You know what I mean? That middle roll, like pretty consistently, which is where I want you to live. Is like mostly always getting what you want, but maybe things are getting slightly worse. You know what I mean? And then a little bit also because there's so many 2d6 systems, you know, and I didn't want it to be too similar to like a PBTA because it's really not at all. But if you say roll 2d6 and get a level of success, that's just like where people's, you know what I mean, heads go. So I added some separation and I played with kind of the arcs of the math and went, okay, this is where I want to end up. So,
Oh, that's really dope.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, yeah. So here we go. Speaking of rolling a 3d6 right now, I'm going to do that right here. So let's go ahead and do. I'm going to give you. Yeah, you're going to roll 3d6 plus wits right
Plus
now.
wit.
Because
All right.
wits is not just your cleverness, but also your perceptiveness of what's going on around.
Great. All right. Well, I've got a plus. Oops. I've got a +1 in wit, so hopefully this goes well. Oh yeah, that was a good roll. 11, 12, 13. I got 14 total.
Boom! Just like that. Starting off high. That's good. That means we're getting the high rolls out early, so we can get the low rolls out later when they're more devastating. Yeah.
Oh, beans.
Yeah. No, yeah. So great. So you roll 3d6, you get a 14. So then when we check against, you know, our different rolls, that sits you right at a surge. So you're going to get what you want, which in this case is to notice exactly what's going on around you. And from a mechanic point, you haven't generated any extra threat to the situation. Yeah, so as you've wandered your circle, right? And you see, you know, eyes, a few more eyes, and then kind of you like look above, and there's a few more eyes, you know, above, and more kind of, you know, popping up, you know, at and around you. And then you smell that smell of rotting fish that you smelled before. Yeah, and that kind of kicks off a like, I know, you know what I mean, what's going on around here. So now you see several bunches of these eyes, you know what I mean, like moving quickly into the camp.
I like that they're specifically bunches of eyes and not pairs of eyes. That's
yes, yeah,
disgusting.
Yeah. So we are going to kick it to let you make your decision, you know, as far as what it looks like.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a Kentaro Miura Nightmarescape for sure. So these are like the creatures that we've kind of been seeing out of the corner of our eyes.
Yeah, these are at least the eyeballs that you've been noticing watching you.
Gotcha.
And the smell that is similar to when you pulled apart one of those birds that had the funky snail parasite in it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say, and maybe I'm being influenced by the Berserk image that just came up, but I'm gonna say that they are large for snails, not necessarily like, you know, humanoid sized, but maybe like, you know, to reference other games like kobold size, you know, the smallish humanoids. But they're certainly snails. They don't have legs, they have slug feet. But they do have two of them, so it's like bipedal slugfoots, where they're kind of like coming across like that, and then they on their backs they have the same kind of like calcareous shell that a snail would have, and it's got the spikes sticking out of it, but also coming out from the sides of the shell are two more appendages that maybe are kind of like slugfoot kind of thing, but like they kind of make up tentacles or hands. And then, yeah, each one of them has like just a random number of eye stalks coming out of what would be their kind of like forehead area. None of them have the same number of stalks, but they all got at least one, and most of them have too many.
Love it. As they come into the firelight, you can, wake your party. You can, you know what I mean, kind of get ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna again, not the most empathetic person. Imra's gonna kind of like kick both.
Yeah,
and be like, "Hey, get up! We got company."
Yeah, sick. I love it. One of the other things now that you noticed as they're kind of like slugging and slamming their way, into the firelight, is that there are additional appendages and pieces of body. Sometimes it's a leg, it's an arm, sometimes it's 2 or 3 heads, which is some of the additional eyes as well, besides the eye stalks, that are mostly lemur. You see a couple of people parts, in there, where they have, somehow attached, and then you see a melding kind of their slug flesh, melted into the other flesh, with these little kind of, lines and wires, and these things operate, as part of the snail now, as it's been attached and, animated on.
Yeah, I hate and love this at the same time.
Yeah. Perfect response. Let's get an initiative roll.
Woo.
Okay.
So
we're rolling 3d6?
Yeah, so everything is going to be a roll of 3d6 on a check. Same roll all the time.
Sick.
We roll the grinds. For initiative, you get your choice. You can add your finesse, or you can add your wits. So are you going to be quicker than the enemies because you're fast, or are you going to be quicker than the enemies because you're more perceptive or you're smarter, basically?
Love it. I got a 16 with finesse, so 14 plus 2.
Love it. Okay.
Imra, weighed down by her half plate and morning star and heavy shield, only got a 9, so she's
All
not
right.
not the fastest around.
Cool. All right. And where'd you end up? 12.
I've
Okay.
got one of each.
Nice. I love it. So here, this is so just from a system point of view. So fact, you're on top. You did not generate any threat because you got a surge. Kraden here ends up on a success, so still going before the baddies, but generating 1 threat. So just the basic threat die has gone from a 1 to a 2 now. And then our precious Emra here has botched this roll. So they're going to go after the baddies now. And they're going to generate 2 threat. So we are up to 4 threat now. And then a reminder, when that threat pops to 6 or higher, we reset it down to 1, and the encounter threat starts creeping up, giving me a chance to add complications to your life, and also mechanically that encounter threat adding to incoming damage from each of the enemy strikes.
Nice.
Cool. But we hop to the top. So, Fack, let's go. There are, coming from multiple sides now. These things probably in a total number of like 8 or 9. You do see additional kind of eyeballs out, but these are the ones that are actively coming out to get you all.
And they seem, my character's stupid, so I'll ask a stupid question. They're like definitely attacking us. Like this is not, they don't seem intelligent. They're not
pretty aggressive. Yes.
Okay, great. So I have a few different options. Backstab, but I imagine they can already see me, so that's probably out of the questions, right?
At this point, yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and burn 3 skill points to use cripple, and try to, rush toward one of them and use my small blade to hamstring them. But metaphorically, because what I'm trying to do probably is cut off their eye stalks or whatever, so they're confused.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're using one of your skills as a thug, cripple. So burn your 3 stamina.
Okay.
And then roll those 3d6 and add cripple's finesse, right?
Yes, cripples, finesse, and sorry, stamina points. SP is stamina points. Okay, so
Yeah, stamina points. Yeah.
so I go from 20 to 17. Oh my god, I rolled a 1, a 2, and a 2. So that's 5 plus 2. It's only 7. So that's a big old botch.
Cool. So we're gonna do a couple things. That's big old botch. We're adding 2 to the threat, which means that it's hit 6.
Woo, you got botched, son.
Yeah,
I got botched bad.
Yeah, so the threat goes back down to 1, and our counter threat creeps up to 2. So when we resolve this, I'll add a little complication, and then you just know now that there's 2 extra damage coming in, whenever they're attacking. But still, even though it's a botch, one of the things about using your skills is that even if you botch it, you always get something out of it, since you took the time to burn some stamina. So what's the botch result on your cripple?
So the botch result in cripple just says roll damage. So is it just normal damage with a small blade, which is 2d6 disadvantage?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't get all the bonuses you usually would
Right.
to cripple, but you don't just miss either like you would on a normal attack. So you at least do some kind of damage.
Oh, wait. Sorry. I have a trait that says once per encounter, I can re-roll a skill roll or damage roll. Would that apply in this case? Could I re-roll
Absolutely,
that?
it would.
Woo! Okay. So maybe I should. Sorry, I know you just did the threat counter, but that's pretty bad.
We're good.
That was awful.
Yeah.
So I'm going to re-roll. I'm going to use that once my encounter. So I can't use it again this encounter, but I could like successive encounter even tonight, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Great. So that's a much better roll. That's a 6, a 6, and a 3. So kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
That's way better. Oh my god. Okay, so that's what is it? 15 plus 2 is 17.
That's a surge.
Yes, I
baby.
definitely wanted to do that.
Yeah. So no threat generated, and then what does surge do on your cripple?
So surge for cripple says roll damage plus finesse. Target cannot move for D3 rounds.
Cool.
So I guess I roll 2d6. That's a 6, but it's disadvantaged. So what? I just use the higher result as a 5.
Okay. Yeah. So you use the lower result. So yeah.
Sorry.
Which is
5. Lower result. Sorry, is a 1. So that would be only 1 damage plus finesse is 2. So it's a 3 total.
All right. So we got 3 damage on this thing.
And I asked to clarify because I'm not rolling 2d6 and then rolling 2d6 again. I'm just rolling.
Yeah.
What I would just say is D6 with disadvantage. Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
Got it.
Perfect. Yeah. Because you got your little knife. What does it look like crippling this slug monstrosity?
I think I go to cut its eye stalks off, and I'm trying to do a cool, like John Wick, do it like all of them at once, like keep moving through Eastern Promises, and it just is like complete failure. Like I'm like, oh, I stepped in it. Oh, that's and then one of them like stabs in a. So I'm just kind of like in the muck immediately, like 2 seconds in, just lost any sense of like being a really cool balletic thief type.
Question.
But
wear boots or are they barefoot?
I imagine they're cartoonishly. There's like boots that are so worn away that all my toes are sticking out.
There's like a perfectly circular hole in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
So I think I do cut off like one eye stalk pretty well, but like that's
absolutely. Yeah. So give me a D3 real quick.
Sure.
Because it's for D3 rounds. This thing ain't.
That's a 1. That's a 1.
Yeah. So it's stuck.
Not
At least next
so
round, it's there. All right. So we're going to Creighton.
All right. Creighton is weak in body but strong in mind, so he's going to use crushing grasp. He'll hold out his hand and try to crush one of these things.
Sick.
That is a 10, so a grind.
That is a grind, sexy. So I'm going to add 1 threat. We're just still sitting at 5 now.
6 damage.
Got lucky. Do 6 damage. Is this to a different one that Wythe?
Yeah, it'll be a different because that one's locked in place.
Cool. 6 is going to do it, baby. So cool. What does it look like when this thing goes down to your crushing grasp spell?
Creighton's very spooky and shadowy, like being a whisperer. So it will be a spectral, dark clawed hand that comes up from the bottom and just grasps this thing and quickly crushes it into goo.
Yeah,
gross.
Yeah, there's a really kind of icky, like squelch, like kind of sound as this thing just like out, splats a little bit here or there, and is done so. as one of these things has gone down now. Now there are 5 out of the 7 that are still around, so we're going to cover defense now. Grindcore, it's I don't ever roll, you roll for everything. It's all player-facing rolls.
Cool.
So we're going to go 2. We're going 2 at Creighton, 2 at Emra, and 1 at Thack. So it is a 3d6 plus your finesse. Dodge out of the way.
I got really good rolls despite my finesse being bad, but I got 2 grinds.
2 grinds?
Yeah.
Love
which
it.
is not damage, right?
Yep. So those are successes. Booms.
I got 1 botch and 1 grind.
Love it. Yep. So with the grind, you have your shield. You bash one of them away. As your arm kind of goes to bash this one away from this other side, you feel a sting. Come in as a lemur head that's kind of attached to an arm on this thing, slams into your side and.
You see Zabumafu.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And out of its mouth as it opens to bite, there's a smaller one of these snails that, as you've seen in the birds, just expands out. So we'd be looking at 5 damage incoming.
Is this to Emra or to Creighton?
This is to Emra.
Okay.
So 5 damage because it's 3 flat. Plus the 2, because that's what encounter threats.
But you have armor, correct?
You have armor. So your armor is a straight damage soak.
Okay, great.
What about a shield? What does shield do?
Shield gives you +1 armor. So I have 4 armor total.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to take 1 point of damage.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Nice.
down to 13.
Cool. Nice. So, yeah. So, 1, thankfully, between your shield, your heavy armor, this thing hits, and mostly it's, ping, 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 kind of up. And then you just feel one of those spikes, though, just kind of slide into your side.
Yeah.
And then pull back. And then heading over to Wythe. What was it with that?
Dr. Thackeray Monocle got a 13 and a 14. So
you only need to
still
roll
rolling
one,
okay.
so.
Yeah, you
No,
just
I
had
know you
1. So
okay.
you're good.
Sorry. Okay, so I forget which was first. So let's say the 13.
Okay, cool.
Got a 13.
Nice. So I kind of kept the adding 1 threat for the grinds, as we went along. So we did pip it over to, an encounter threat level here. So what you hear then, right before Emmerich goes, is the rest of them kind of out of the edges, seem to kind of stay away for whatever reason. It's just these that have squeezed in. But you hear a cracking kind of snapping above your head in the boughs. And as you glance up, you see 2 or 3 of these things and the branches maybe 8 or 9 feet, above your heads right now. And they're moving. They're not jumping yet, but you see, these branches kind of starting to bend as they get to the thinner edges. And you've got at least 2 of these kind of hanging over your head right now. And we're going to Emra.
Okay. Yeah, I think Emra is sufficiently freaked out by the lemur head and the snail coming out of the lemur head. So she is just gonna kind of react and take a huge swing.
Yes.
So I'm gonna burn 3 SP.
Cool.
Go down to 14. And then we're gonna do this thing. All right, so this is plus bod, which is great. Oh baby. Yeah, I got a 15 total, so that's a surge.
Let's go.
And then I'd like to, since I just rolled a surge, I'd like to use my reaction of hulking momentum to
Sick.
add a little extra oomph. I'm going to put the weight of the armor like move the hips in such a way that it just like propels itself. So that's going to burn another 2 SP. I go down to 12. And I got another surge.
Love it. All right, so we're going to go back. So what does Huge Swing let you do?
For a surge with Huge Swing, it allows me to roll damage plus stat to each of up to 3 enemies in close range. So I've got 2 that are on me, as I recall. So we're going to roll damage plus stat to each. So I have 2d6, technically 1d6 with disadvantage, however we want to say it. So I'm going to roll 2.
What weapon do you have?
Oh, I have the spiked bludgeon. I decided it's a Morning Star.
So you're actually at D6 with advantage instead.
Oh, with advantage.
Yeah.
Even better. All right.
Yeah.
Great. So we're going to roll 2d6, take the highest. That would be a 6 there. Beautiful. And then do I add the body?
Yeah, you add your body
onto that. Okay, so that's 8 total for the first one.
And the second?
The second, that is going to be 6 total for the second one.
And 6 total. Cool. So that is 2 hits, 2 kills.
Nice.
So yeah, describe this Huge Swing as this giant Morning Star comes around and through.
Yeah, so, the lemur head is like chomping on Emra's armpit or whatever, trying to kind of like get into the armor. And she kind of like twirls away and then just, without even really thinking, just like swings in a kind of like if it was an axe, it would be a big cleaving motion, but she's not even really looking. It's just kind of like maybe she even like spins in a circle as she swings, because she's just like, get the fuck off me. And
pure terror instinct.
Yeah. No thoughts, just metal and momentum. That's it.
Love it. Yeah, and that is a splat, and then a splat again, and then read your hulking momentum real quick.
So for hulking momentum, it's a creature in close range after you roll a surge, which is when you can use it. It's a reaction skill. And for surge, which is what I rolled for it, you make a melee attack with +1 to the attack roll.
There you go. So.
Is there? I assume we were all kind of close together. These creatures were coming at us from the literally woodwork.
Yeah, so you're good. So yeah, we didn't talk about range. So as we touch on things, we'll kind of come to it. So range is range bands, and there's no 5-foot squares, anything. So close range is just anything within reach or a few steps away that you get to on your turn. So you're kind of all in close range, basically. Where the next range is far, which it would take you at least a turn to get over there. So far is kind of where a lot of the other eyeballs are, right now, kind of out of the edges. And then distant is you can see it, but it's going to take you multiple turns to get over to it.
Cool. Yes, is there maybe one of the creatures that is attacking Thackeray after Thackeray tried to de-eye it? I forget the actual name for that. There's a technical term for taking out someone's eye. But I'm
Enucleate?
Enucleate, yeah. After Thackeray tried to enucleate that one slug creature, maybe I'll be like, need a hand? Or it's just like it's a continuation of the swing and it just happens to go over Thackeray's head.
Yeah.
because he's so tiny little rat guy.
Yeah.
Tailfolk. And yes.
Yeah.
Nice. Roll that damage
right.
for your hulking momentum.
All right, so I rolled a 4. I get +1 to that, so that is. I have to make an attack roll. I'm not just rolling damage, right? Okay, so. Oh, not great. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You did roll a surge for hulking momentum already, I thought.
Yeah, but that allows me to make a melee attack with +1. Yeah. So that's a 10. So it's a grind.
It's a grind, baby. So I'm gonna add 1 threat. And then you still get to roll your damage. But on a grind, you usually don't add your stat. That's the difference.
Okay, cool. So yeah, 5 damage then.
Nice. Your 5 plus the 1 that it took earlier is enough to finish the job over there and kind of clear that thing out.
Hell yeah. Emra goes to give Thackeray like a COVID elbow bump.
Yeah. I love it. So that's the end of our round of combat. So then the cleanup is, if we're going to go into more combat again, you look at whatever armor you have, and according to the armor that you're wearing, you lose that much stamina. So if you have a shield, it's 0. There's no armor penalty. Your light, medium, and heavy are 1, 2, 3 respectively. It's the same amount of damage soak is the stamina that you burn.
Great. Yeah, my just for our listeners or watchers even, my armor penalty, even though I'm wearing heavy armor, is only a -2 because of the Sentinel trait, which is you reduce your armor penalty by 1.
Nice. Yeah. Which is very nice, because that soaks a lot of damage eating that 3 a turn. On
it's rough.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exhausting to be so heavily armored. Turns out.
Nice. And then we head back to Olfac at the top of the round here.
So I think I'm I go to the elbow bump, slashing up at the elbow with my scalpel, and then at the last minute doing a fancy I meant to not stab you in the elbow.
It's all good. We've been traveling together for 2 weeks. Emra knows the score.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna try. You know what? I'm just gonna try the same thing. I'm gonna try to cripple some more now that I know it could work in theory.
Nice.
Because I think I have some other options that are good. As an attack. Oh wait, I'm sorry. So if I use flash powder, however, I can make an attack and still use flash powder.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm going to do that. I'm going to make an attack and use or I guess I'll use flash powder first and then make an attack. That seems like the smart way to do it, because they can take extra damage. Okay, I see it. Great. So what do I have to do? I burn 2 SP, so I get down to 15.
Yep.
And then I'm going to roll 3d6 plus finesse, so plus 2. Can't re-roll this, so that's a 10, 2, that's 12, plus 2 is 14.
Ooh, yeah, just sliding in on the surge there.
Which is a surge, that's the lowest surge, great. So it's D3 plus finesse damage.
Nice.
So I'm going to roll a D3. That's only a 1, but hey, plus finesse makes it a 3.
Nice. You whip out the pocket sand and, into the eye stalks.
That's right.
That's got to be devastating for these creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just chili powder, but I'm jabbering away about enucleation and the science of I actually did a residency in nucleationism when I was at the Royal Lazaretto back in town, not this town that you're from, but a different town. All right, and it's the next D3 rolls against the target. They take extra damage. So the next 2 rolls they take a +1, and I still get to attack.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna attack with my scalpel. Normally, so that is what is that? That's a 7 plus 2 is a 9 plus 2 is an 11. So that's a grind.
Cool.
And then I'm gonna roll damage, or
yep, and you're gonna roll damage.
That's a 2. So yeah, that's a 2. That's with disadvantage is a 2. And then it takes a +1, so it takes 3 from that attack.
Love it. And that is the other 3 that it has. So so describe your flash powder and then coming in with your scalpel.
I am looking at Emra and making up things about a residency I took in taking eyes out of different kinds of monsters, while just the no-look hand toss of the capsaicin and then just slashing wildly. And again, I got at least like 1 eye stalk off this thing, so it's probably not feeling great about its life.
Yeah, and it's toast. Yeah, it's like quack, 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 eye stalk, eye stalk, eye stalk. A slide up the tummy, maybe green room style, and then flop, like it flops on down.
Yeah, that's what we call trimming the hedges in medicine.
I imagine that it's kind of like cutting open a tauntaun in
absolutely,
in unspecified IP that I won't say. But like, also, just ichor pours out onto Thackeray.
and the wriggly bits that wriggle and wriggle, but then slowly, kind of calm down over time. Nice, so grody, y'all.
That's nasty.
Yeah. Now one of the things that did happen was we did hit 6 because we added threat for your grind. So it reset to 1, and our counter threat has popped up to 3.
I completely forgot about the things in the trees.
Yeah, exactly. And so what you hear now is the crack snap as these 2 that were above your head in the branches break out from under them, and they come falling down. One of them lands like in the fire. The sparks, you know what I mean, and wood and ash just kind of like flies everywhere up into your noses, you know, and mouths and eyes. And it kind of like squooshes over, you know, kind of rolls a little bit smoking now, and shifts around to whoever it can get to that's closest. The other one, Creighton, give me a finesse roll real quick.
Sure. I'm real bad at that. Yeah, I got a 9.
Cool. So the other one just like full lands, you know what I mean, on top of Creighton, kind of like slamming shoulder, you know, and head, and then like off the back, and then squelches onto the ground there. So you have what would be 1 coming your way, but our counter threat is 3, so you've got 4 coming your way.
Sure. So I will luckily only take 1 damage due to my medium armor and shield.
And shield. Love it. And it is your go, Creighton.
Cool. Well, I'm going to try to crush that one too. Let's see. Crushing grasp.
See the crushing grasp. The hand comes up.
Oh, yeah. That's a 17.
17. Love it. Surge, no threat. Roll that damage, baby.
Six points of damage. Again,
6
4 plus 2. Yeah.
Love it. And that one toasts. So, yeah, another blah, and just plop, you know.
I'm real good at crushing these ones.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah, I imagine
with all this like crushing, it's just, there's just like snails.
Yeah, there's just
everywhere in the camp.
Just juice everywhere. The fire's completely out. It's been doused.
Yeah,
snail juice.
The wettest game of Grindcore I've run so far.
Although that does bring up an interesting point. Is there anything that should be taken into account? The fact that it's dark.
Yeah. So now we're getting into a situation where, unfortunately, not only did that snail land in the fire and spread it, you know what I mean, but then next to that now dying fire, we have Creighton squelching this thing as its kind of guts and ooze, and you smell the smell of it as it kind of hits the remaining ashes, and the last little bits of light kind of go out, except for maybe the little twinkle of a dying torch laying on the ground that Emra left when they had to go, you know, shield and weapon here. So there is this little pocket, you know, of light coming from that torch, but it's pretty bad. So in this darkness now, we'll talk about advantage, disadvantage, which is just you're gonna roll 4 dice instead of 3 on your roll. If you had advantage, you drop the low one. If you have disadvantage, you drop the high one. So right now in this darkness, we've got disadvantage going on.
Sorry, y'all. I feel like the kid who asked for homework.
Yeah.
Right now.
Teacher, we had homework.
Actually, you said there was going to be a quiz today.
Yeah.
Are we still going to take that quiz?
So good.
I just love simulationism. What can I say?
Yeah.
I always got high marks in school, so Dr. Monocle is completely fine with not. I can see in the dark. Tailfolk have this ability. Everyone knows this.
Yeah.
Can't really.
There are only 2 remaining alive that are attacking out at least, even with the ones that drop down, which is good.
Nice.
And out of, no sense of karma or whatsoever, one of them will attack Emra. And the other one is heading. See, Creighton, you killed that one, so Thackeray is the other one that's left. So I need a defense roll from Thackeray and a defense roll from Emra.
Wow. I even with disadvantage, I'm very happy with this. I rolled 2 5s and 2 6s, so I'm going to drop 1 6, which means that 17 total.
Love it. And when you surge on a defense roll, you get to carry a +1 to your next roll.
Nice. Great.
So keep a mark on that. And then Thackeray.
What is this? I know you just explained this. Explain disadvantage here again, because I'm tripped up with rolling multiple dice. So I rolled got 11 + 2 is 13. But do you want me to roll again and tell you a different result, or just roll a different die and swap out?
Yeah. So you just, instead of rolling 3d6, you roll 4d6 when you have advantage.
Okay.
Disadvantage.
That's a 2, so that would lower it by 1. So instead of a 13, it's a 12.
12. So you hit the grind, so you don't take the damage, and we just add our 1 threat to the situation. So you're good. So you're holding it back, smashing around. Emra over here, big block away, carrying a little bit of advantage, a +1 into the next one, which is good because it's Emra's turn.
Nice. Whatever, this isn't Magic the Gathering. I can ask this. Is it too late to roll my hulking momentum again since I rolled a surge?
Oh, that is it. Mistrigger.
Yeah. It's not on the stack anymore, bro.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, so this is why I love playtesting games, because the intention for hulking momentum was, you're using skills or you're making attacks, and because of, a surge, when you're doing that, you then can spend that, stamina to kind of add that additional one.
Right.
It's never come up, hey, I rolled a surge on a defense roll. Can I go ahead and, use this? And rules as written, you absolutely could, if you're going to spend the SP. So,
yeah, I'll burn the extra 2 SP. I'm going for it. This is kind of like whenever we play Stillfleet or Blister Critters or upcoming Danse Macabre, I'm always like, I don't care about grit. Let's burn it. Let's do stuff.
Yeah.
Shot.
Yeah, especially in a one-shot. All right, cool. So I'm down to 8 SP. And I will, so I get to make an attack roll with a +1 with an additional +1 for the surge that I got. Defense surge. So we'll make a melee attack. I'm going to roll 4. Not as great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Still good.
Just at a surge.
those pluses, baby, coming in handy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, cool. All right, so I will roll for damage. 5 damage total.
Cool.
So I'm going to say Emra blocks the thing with her shield and then kind of like pushes it up and then does like an uppercut move with her Morning Star to kind of catch it in the air.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, and it's barely holding on to life. It's in rough shape right now.
And now that it's my actual attack, while it's in the air, Emra is then going to overhand and try to slam it back down into the ground.
Excellent.
Or a combo move.
Oh, yeah. You play fighting games at all?
I am terrible at fighting games, so no.
Yeah. It has very combo feel.
Yeah, I mean that's
it goes up now we go back down.
that's the look I'm going for. No, actually, funny enough, my partner Jen is exceedingly good at fighting games, even though she never plays them on the reg.
Yeah.
So every time we play, I get completely destroyed, and it's hard, man. It's like every time. It's so demoralizing. Anyway, for my attack, I rolled a 9, 10. 11, 12. So I got to grind on the attack.
Cool. Upping our threat as we go.
And then and then 5 total damage on that one.
Awesome. That is enough to toast that one there.
Yeah.
It goes up and it comes back down.
I feel so powerful right now.
Yeah. And squelches out. Where's your stamina sitting now?
My stamina is at 8, so it's all right.
Yeah, we some sleepy fellas.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and then so we finish the bottom. Like we said, we do our check. Are we going back to the top? There is one remaining enemy still hanging out. So if you have armor on, take that armor penalty for your stamina.
All right, I amend that. I am down to 6.
Yeah. Nice. And Thackeray, you are at the top. There is, amidst the smoke and ooze, and trickle of firelight, there is one of these things remaining in the midst of your camp.
Sure. I really like to know. I guess these just seem like wandering, dangerous fauna. I'm just wondering if there's anything we can learn from them while they're alive. Maybe not. Maybe it's better to kill them first and then talk to them. So yeah, I'll talk to their dead corpses. I'm gonna use. I'm just gonna attack normally, in fact, and just hope everyone else is better at fighting. Yeah, that's okay. That's good. Oh, do I have to roll this with disadvantage as well? Everything?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pitch black.
Okay, that's still good. That's fine. So that doesn't play. So that's so keeping it ahead is 13 plus 2 is 15.
Sexy. There we go. That's a surge, baby.
Okay.
And then roll that. Roll that damage.
Do I have triple disadvantage on damage?
No, so no damage. It's just for the roll, for success or failure.
So that's a 4 for the damage with my scalpel.
Cool. Nice. Did you add your stat?
No, do I add that to damage as well every time?
So on a surge, you add your stat. On a grind, you don't.
Got it. Okay, then that would be a 6.
6, yeah, baby. Scalpel it up.
Yeah, that's how you dismember this.
I mean, I think I'm stabbing. I think I realized that the scalpel can go through its shell. Like maybe the shells aren't that thick. I don't know. Or I found the weak point, anime style. It's like, oh, I understand how this, but yeah, no, I'm stabbing.
As you're swinging, it like glints, and you're like,
yeah.
It's always tempting now to just bite off Dungeon Meshi and be like, well, you see, this will taste better. If I,
But, it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a fun show. But no, I think I'm just stabbing it again, lying about anatomy as though I know a lot about its anatomy. I don't know anything about its anatomy, but I can stab.
Yeah,
stabbing
you stab good. I love too that you're pondering before was like, I wonder if there's something we can learn while it's alive. What is this thing? And then you're like, or it's dead.
Yeah, it was the galaxy brain. Like, I'll talk to it after I kill it, which doesn't. It's not how that works, but
yeah. Piercing the the very delicate nerve cluster that runs this thing, in the middle, you see, Thackeray's arm just like, whether, essentially or not, and flick, and it kind of just like, down.
I found the ganglion. That's what it's called. It doesn't have a brain, it's a ganglion. There it is.
Emmer's just like, oh, cool.
Yeah. It's what's making the pineapple smell. Everything else smells like rotten fish, but this is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think this whole world probably smells like rotten fish to one degree or another.
That's amazing. Yeah, you find that it's there's no like evergreen fresh smell from the trees. The fish smell is actually coming from the bark of the trees, around you. That's the star anise and the pineapple that's coming from the snails, maybe.
That's so weird.
Just the worst forest ever. But yeah, so we come out of combat now. So y'all are good. For whatever reason, the rest of these things have decided to stay out of the light and away from y'all. They kind of shift out. You see some of the eyes kind of blink out and maybe wander off. Whether it's this prey isn't as easy as we thought, or boredom, or if there's something driving them, it's decided maybe not right now. But for whatever reason, a few eyes here and there, kind of hang out, but a lot of them kind of dissipate, wandering back into the night.
Nice.
And you kind of look around, seeing each other's faces, in the shadows of the last little dying, bit of torch on the ground. Thankfully, maybe a bit of the grass has caught. You can smell that fire just outside of the gloop range of the smashed, snails. And it's back to y'all now. So,
I think,
what does cleanup look like?
Yeah, as Imra wipes slug snail juice off of her armor and shield and Morningstar, she's like, "Wow, that sucked. Why are we out here again? What are we doing?"
Well, we were looking for the lemur cryptid, but also just like some work because we don't have any money.
Oh, right. Money. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, money still exists in this.
Yeah, we heard that the lemur cryptid was of interest to the. Yeah, and the one temple, right? The temple of one of the lemur cryptid.
Sure.
The snatcher.
Yeah.
The pause in the darkness. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna make amends. We're gonna put a little cute hat on it. It's gonna come to the center of town.
I want to make a point that we have this conversation every
Creighton,
night.
You should.
No, totally fine.
Like Emmerich constantly
About what we're
forgets.
doing?
Just like,
Yeah.
why are we out here? This sucks.
Yeah. I imagine that this was
You
probably
leave the plan into us. You just do the fight.
All right, boss.
I imagine this was probably not pitched as a 2-week job either,
Sure.
It's like, just go into the forest, handle the situation. Come on back out.
It's just Forest X. What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen?
Forest
It's a rotting,
X,
it's
like
a
a
rotting
startup.
fish.
Yeah.
Fish, rotting fish forest.
The forest of fishy smells. I think. Do we want to rest some more? Do we want to actually get some sleep, or should
Yeah, that'd
we?
be cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Emra, lacking an axe or sword or any kind of cutting implement, attempts to rip a small tree out of the ground to use as firewood.
Amazing. You work it back and forth. There's a decent amount of seedlings and stuff.
Nice.
Plus, if you wander just a little further out, you can pull bark and everything to get some decent firewood.
Cool. Yeah, I think after that experience, Emra wants a bonfire.
Oh, nice. Yeah. We're no longer worried about, hey, are people going to notice we're here? It's like maximum light and heat,
yes,
kind of situation.
Absolutely.
So we'll cover a couple of things now. So we never crossed over into daily threat, which is good because then we didn't get, very bad change of things. Our encounter's over. So the encounter threat rolls back down to 1 and our regular threat rolls back down to 1. So we kind of, clear things back down now to an even level. And then, overnight, I don't think y'all actually took very much damage during that encounter, did you? Yeah, so pretty tame, smaller, enemies. You do recover D3 plus your body, hit points over the night. Actually, that's kind of funny. We're gonna do D6 plus your body, actually. Spot HP overnight.
And what about that stamina?
Yeah, your stamina goes after a rest at night goes all the way back up. So you were good. Yeah, especially good for Emra because they were dipping, heavy.
I was down to 7 as well. So
yeah,
we were all.
Yeah. So going. So there's talking systems, right? Having a fight at the end of the night, getting able to take that long rest, pretty good because then you get to start fresh. If you take 2-3 encounters, during a day, and you just get to take a short rest, then you're having to balance stamina, or maybe tap into thinning the veil to get that refresh, and rolling the dice as far as what that means. So this is a pretty chill way to take a fight before basically essentially a long rest. But yeah, the rest of the night pretty quiet. Do y'all reset camp in a slightly different area?
Yeah,
are we sleeping amongst the goo?
I would like-
what is that?
I'd like to imagine that we have the presence of mind to move. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I mean, you think it's gross. I don't want to be wet. I don't know about the tail folk.
I mean, I think my main interest is there something we can learn? I don't think I find it nasty as much as just like what the hell were these things and what does it all mean? Is there something, I don't know if this can be modeled through rolling or if you have other thoughts.
Absolutely. So you really want to poke around and be like, what the hell is going on?
I'm in the goo. I'm completely, as soon as they start, they turn their backs and are like, we're going to clean up, and they turn around and Dr. Monocle is just like head to toe, like slimed a la Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a choice on your roll then. You can roll wits to try to be clever and perceptive and just kind of figure it out. Or you can roll intellect to kind of tap into your knowledge base and what you've learned, beforehand to maybe put it together.
Indubitably the former, because the latter would be unfair to these other cretins, but actually have a -1 to intellect. So
I have a +2, but
the fact that you know the word cretin is pretty impressive.
I have a large vocabulary, but I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm literally like sorting through goo with my hands, looking for like clues, whatever that could possibly be. So I have +1 wits though, so I'm decently perceptive. I'm a thiefy type.
Cool.
All right. Oh, that's terrible. That's really bad. Okay, that is a 7 + 1 is an 8.
That's an 8.
That's a botch, right?
Cool. So so it is. But so I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't already know here. But what do you tell your friends?
It's goo.
I think I start making up something about the tides and the moon, and that there's a mesmeric animal magnetism tide, which only we can feel with a heightened sense of perception, the tail folk. So I understand these poor critters, which we've had to lay down because, of course, we don't want them to, be venomous. But they're just out for mating season, I think, due to the moon. So totally normal, nothing to see here, nothing to worry about. Just don't want to be mated with the danger snails. Somebody pass a towel or all the towels.
As you do this, it just like sprays Iker everywhere. You're like, job done. It actually makes it worse somehow.
I love it. Now, what I need to know is from Emra and Creighton, is how convincing was all Dr. Thackeray Monocle in his explanation.
I think to Emra, 100%. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think elephants do something about the moon too. That's a real fact. Yeah.
Creighton is much like myself in real life when someone's spouting nonsense. Luckily, it's not harmful nonsense, so I just don't care enough to correct or conjecture.
It's like you just kind of turn away with your journal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. I love it. So we pop into the next day. Things are quiet. You are refreshed after healing a bit, tapping that stamina back up. And it is time to kind of get on moving. Now, as you travel through today, you do see the signs of more and more trails of this snail goo. They're crossing here, they're crossing there, but there do seem to be a lot of more consistent trails kind of heading in a specific direction, either coming or going. Like there is, after you wander a little bit from randomness, that's kind of order builds, maybe with a more central point. So where they're coming from and leaving. I also, as a DM, as Thackeray, as you poked around and kind of, dug through, these things, trying to figure things out. There were the snails themselves, all of the attachable lemur parts, and a few kind of run down and decrepit, people parts, mixed in there, of various ages. But I'm going to say one of the things that you found is a regular bladed weapon of your choice. just a d6, like a sword or whatever of some sort.
Oh, great. That's
if you would
amazing.
like to take that. Yeah.
Yes, I would.
Cool.
Clearly, the snails have taste. They have been murdering murderers, so good for you, snails, on your mating journey. I hope you found love. Nothing to see here, but yes, I have this machete that I found.
I hope you found love.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay. Also, you do begin to see more evidence, once again, of some of these lemurs living in this area. But as you travel a little further into the day, you notice two other things. You start to notice really old, mostly worn down, some falling apart, different little kind of fetishes and stuff hanging in some of the trees. Sometimes, something carved or written into a stone. And they all are similar in some ways to kind of these long-armed creatures, kind of, lemur-esque, most of these are, dozens of years old, if not hundreds, maybe,
Does the charm that Emra brought or was given on the way out, does it resemble these at all?
Yeah, actually, absolutely. It does resemble them. Whoever had the lemur's paw, even you feel it, like, kind of shift. Yeah, it straightens out the finger and then it curves it back down, but there's even like a bit of movement to it here. So you are seeming to be, coming closer into this area. The next thing you notice as you travel a bit closer now is pieces of lemurs. There's a lot of bottom halves, foot, legs, both of the legs, tails. Every once in a while, maybe like an arm or a head, but it seems like mostly bottom halves left over. You see more movement, in the trees here, there, at times, but you can't ever, really lock it down. But I don't know if it's eating, dismembering, you can poke around and take a look,
Yeah.
Further at what's going on there.
Yeah, I think Emra's going to be like, oh, that's a lot of lemur butts. And like, even though she admittedly doesn't know shit, is going to maybe poke him with her morning star, just kind of essentially poking it with a stick, but that's what she has on hand. So
cool. Yeah, just trying to kind of figure it out.
Yeah, just what's the vibe? What's up with these butts?
Yeah. Nice. So I'm going to give you a little information no matter what, and then give me a wits roll for Emra to see the level of the different information.
Okay, I got a grind on my wits.
Cool. All right, so you definitely get some information. I'm going to say that we're into, even though you're not in combat, kind of measure thing encounters, as we go along. So this encounter is kind of like an environmental encounter. You're poking around, you're seeing what's going on. So I am going to add that one threat, to the situation. So no matter what, as you mess with it, you do see a little bit of evidence, kind of, that the snails have come through this area, but they seem to be kind of pulled apart, and then on some of the pieces, the kind of flesh, the parts on the end, seem almost melted. So it's like as if you had caught it on fire, but instead of just being flesh, kind of melted almost like plastic would, and come apart. And as you're kind of sorting through and poking, all of this, you notice now that some of the snail trails are much fatter, than the ones that you've come across, even being, 6, 7, 8 feet, wide. and these are all kind of straight lining, either to or from one direction. And the melted body parts and pieces of these lemurs are always in the trail of these larger snails that are coming and going.
That's gross. Yeah, I think Emra will communicate that all to the other two, but also be like, what are these, like, lemur candles? What's going on? Why I've never seen anything melt like this.
Yeah, it reminds me of a time. Insert irrelevant detail here, possibly made up.
Reminds me of when I was in medical school and.
No, I was the ship's doctor. Picture it. Beautiful emerald seas, and all the pirates kept having their legs melted by some sort of coral beast. It turned out to be a coral beast. Anyway, I don't think we're at sea, so I don't think it's the same issue. That was one of my first cryptid adventures.
First of many.
Not really cryptid, just, the first of two. Well, here we are. What do you think we should do?
If you live in a world full of this is side talk. If you live in a world full of monsters, do cryptids exist? That's a good question. Maybe they're just the ones that haven't been found.
Yeah,
like in real life.
Yeah. No, yeah, I do love that. It's like, what then qualifies as a cryptid at this point,
It's just a dude.
Yeah.
It's just like a man in the forest.
Yeah. Cryptids are actually all fake. Like, all of the other spooky creatures are real, and cryptids are the people that are faking it.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem with the anime high fantasy, where, like, everything is so weird that then to make things weird, they just have to literally have the characters narrate, like, this is the weirdest thing we've ever seen. I know all that other weird shit, that was all normal to us, the characters in this diegetic universe, but this thing is really weird. Yeah. I feel like maybe, though, we get a sense to play to Steelman the veil thinning thing. Like, we know when it's closer to the truly occult and eldritch as opposed to just generic low fantasy. Like, that's a danger bat. Like, don't get bitten. Environmental.
Absolutely. Right? And even poking around, a little bit, you get that sense of, like, we're crossing the line now between odd natural, and corrupted, veil kind of touched stuff going on, at this point. That you've in this last day you've wandered, across that line to where, okay, this is beyond the scope of what should be going on.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, I've never seen an 8-foot wide snail before.
So that's an 8-foot wide snail.
Well, we found the trail of an 8-foot wide snail.
Oh, awful.
Yeah.
So I think that is maybe the only thing to Emra that's, like, really, it's not a vibe thing. It's just like, oh, that's not right. That's too big.
Yeah. And all of the melted lemur parts were always connected to one of these wide snail trails. I love it. Anything else you want to poke around and look at, in this area before we get moving?
Y'all got anything you want to look for?
No. So we're thinking, the giant snail ate the lemurs,
or something. Or, I mean, the lemur bits seem as though they were ripped apart, but also melted at the same time.
Yeah. We don't really know what's going on yet, which is fine. Yeah. But I think one of the questions is, like, what is our goal? So we're trying to capture the cryptid. We think there might be a relationship between cryptid and snails, but we don't know what it is. Is that fair to say? No ideas, really?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
I mean, we saw lemur bits and bits of other things on the snails that we fought at the campsite last night, too. And, again, maybe Emra can't exactly put this together, but I can.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that...
You can't. You are free to do with that. So even though we have kind of like a modern, resolution system with levels of success and all that stuff, it is kind of OSR inspired. In the fact that, like, you can also, if you can figure something out, you can then decide that your character figures that out to the level that you want, you know? Because I'm going to give you some information. I'm not always going to ask for a roll for, you know, a puzzle or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So, so it's always free person information, player information is character information as much as you want it to be.
Gotcha. I think in that case, Emra is going to have like a flash of recognition, but then get distracted by something and just do away with the thought and be like, huh, nah, and then like tosses the lemur butt over her shoulder or something.
I love it. That's great.
But also, like, so it seems like there's a deeper, or like there's a trail, right? So just to recap, the trail is going somewhere, and there's clearly like a center of mass of the snails, or
yes, a center of mass of the snails. So more and more population of lemurs, and not just random travel, but like almost a pathway that's all leading, you know what I mean, towards a singular spot with these snails. The more that you travel, the more lemur dismemberment that you get, you know, and the wider and larger the snails are. Everything's kind of going into this point. Also, I blame y'all because y'all gave me all this information. So you did I asked questions, so you have to live with what you gave me. Okay.
I get the sense, again, out of character, but I get the sense that the cryptid that we're searching for, the lemur man or whatever, is not actually a lemur man in any capacity, but just a snail covered in lemur bits.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's where I'm going. It's like we set out looking for one thing, but we've been surprised.
Well, and I'm guessing it absorbs the snails in some, or the lemurs in some capacity, and like because those snails had the lemur bits weren't just like attached; they were part of them. Right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be. Well.
Oh, gross.
You're the doctor.
Now I'm not as interested. Yeah, no, I was really fucking disgusting. This thing is. That's how doctoring goes, though. So you have a patient, you can't just say, "Oh, you have a really gross problem." You know, you got to solve it.
You don't get to choose your patients.
I mean, you can, but it doesn't. You know, people don't like that.
It goes against the hippopotamus oath.
The hippopotamus oath. You're right. That's what we say. Well, gents, what should we press on further into the abyss?
I think, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a way. Yeah, we don't have money. We don't have prospects other than finding this snail lemur man creature.
Yeah,
that sounds fun when you say it that way.
I know. I'm trying to make it fun.
I think the idea of us being veil thinners is that no one wants to hire us for like regular jobs. So
yeah, we only get the weird shit.
Yeah, we didn't cover a ton of lore world, and we're playing with it pretty heavily now. You know, just to have a good time. But there is a level of shunning from larger populations and stuff. Because as a veil thinner, if you thin too much, then you open, you know what I mean, the world up to all the demons to come through.
Yeah, we are as much of a threat as we are a solution to people's problems.
Yeah.
I am never the problem, but other veil thinners are the problem.
Canonically, I've never been a problem.
Yeah. So,
write it down, folks.
Yeah, so for veil thinners, adventures too, you sometimes get this kind of Kung Fu, the series aspect of wandering from place to place, you know what I mean? It's solving problems kind of thing.
Got a little Guts vibe going.
Yeah, absolutely.
You bring the demons, you hunt the demons.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with the taking a death mark, which I think Emra is the only one who took a death mark and came back to life.
I didn't. I don't have a death mark.
Yes. Okay, that's right. Thackeray took the death mark because you used it to get more SP.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just figure this guy's been killed at least once.
Yeah.
And brought back.
So with your death mark, you get to come back to life, but that mark means that you generate more threat in situations, and that the things that cross over begin to sniff you out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even look for you. You know what I mean on this side because you've got that smell of the veil on you basically in a lot of ways.
Danger cologne.
Danger cologne. I love it.
Stinks of veil in here.
And if you take a second mark, then they will absolutely just like everything that's in the area will start tracking you down. You know what I mean?
What does the veil smell like? Because I'm reading a book by Adrian Tchaikovsky right now. It's his fantasy book called City of Last Resorts, I think, or City of Last Chances. I don't quite remember. But they talk about the smell of magic a lot, and he describes it as like as if when steel is welded, it has like a very specific tang. He kind of like talks about it that way.
That ozone smell.
Yeah,
ozone. Let's say kind of ozone with a bite to it. You know what I mean? Kind of
spicy ozone.
Yeah, spicy ozone. Danger cologne. Spicy ozone by Danger
the new
Cologne.
scent from
yeah, exactly. For the sake of time and to kind of touch what I mean, the systems a little bit more, we're gonna start guiding y'all in towards the end of it here. So as you kind of travel towards this collected point, you can see more and more of these snail trails kind of coming together and leaving. You're not crossing very many of them during the day, at least, but you do see more and more lemurs in the area now, some living kind of going from tree to tree, some in larger sizes. You do also see a few tracks on the ground from the lemurs as well. Some of them very small, some of them, with feet, like a large man almost, so there is this population of, lemurs that is getting more larger humanoid, as you come through.
Do they still move like lemurs? Do they still do the jump?
Yeah, they absolutely still do. Yeah, move like lemurs with these. And when you got a 7-foot tall lemur, it's got very long arms.
That is not cool.
And muscles. But they do seem to kind of lead in now to this one area. There are 3 or 4 larger totems here. There is a stained altar that's carved out of stone that's probably 4 or 5 feet high, made out of a stone table that is carved with kind of a dip inside of it. This all stands outside of a hill, and carved into this hill, it's kind of rocky and broken, is a cave that goes down. You see now the kind of the snail ichor, on all sides, what I mean, on top of the cave, kind of, sliding down in there. The grade is just a few degrees, so it's kind of a safe walk. But everything has been coming and going, out of here. You do now see a couple of snails, even as you're heading into evening now. You probably have, an hour or two of light. With these larger lemur pieces, kind of incorporated into their bodies. Everything kind of, seems to be pointing down, into the hole.
Yeah, the lemur morphing thing just doesn't get better. It gets worse. Each time you say it, I'm just like, God damn it.
Why did we say lemurs?
It could have been anything. I guess, Imra is just kind of eyes on the prize here. She's like, all right, I got to kill this thing, whatever. So she's gonna take out her tinderbox and light up her second of 3 torches. Cool. Actually, she's got 3 torches in her inventory. I'm going to give a torch to everyone.
Nice.
We all get torches. I'm not going to... Imra doesn't want to bogart the torches. So she kind of like shoves one at Thackeray, shoves one at Creighton, and then just gives like a curt nod, and then just starts heading on down.
Just canonically don't need it as a tail folk, but of course I appreciate it. I'm of course like I'm ready to light it.
You're like, oh thank God.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. yeah, so we start heading down, in, you get this grade and it kind of levels off, a little goes down, kind of the snail ichors, pretty thick all around the surfaces. You sploosh down a few inches at times, and then, kind of thins back up a bit.
My boots.
Yeah. And you can tell now that it seems even more like, when you see it on the ceiling and stuff, it kind of clicks that maybe this isn't from a bunch of things coming in and out, rather than maybe something very large squeezing its way, in and out of this hole. Even to where there's pieces of rock and things, broken away and kind of smoothed out over time. As you head kind of down and in, this cave structure kind of breaks apart and splits into two ways. There's a smaller channel to the right and a pretty large channel to the left. The smaller cave to the right doesn't seem quite as, coated in all of the snail juice, where the larger to the left does. You also see like a faint blue kind of glowing light a little ways down, and it looks like the larger tunnel opens up maybe into a larger room.
All right. Is there? Do y'all want to scout out? Do you want to see what's down both tunnels before going in there?
I kind of just want to go in there.
Works for me. Just starts walking down the bigger tunnel.
like I'm not. We can check it on the way out, but I don't want to be like, well, this is the egg room where all the babies sleep. And then
I can use a power or skill called
sick.
Warp Senses, which will make it so that we move undetected for a number of minutes or seconds, depending on the roll.
Yeah.
Cool.
So perhaps that would be a good time to cloak us.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely. I love it. Let's get that roll, baby.
All right. Creighton, are you ready to also be becloaked in Dr. Monocle's patented cloak medicine?
Very, man, I wish you wouldn't call it that, but yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. I have to burn 3 plus X stamina, where X is creatures. So I'm going to burn 5 to do 3 plus 2 more. And then I'm going to roll plus finesse. So let's see what I get. That's pretty good. That is 11 plus 2 is a 13. So that only gives us 10 seconds of becloaking, but maybe that's enough
to use your...
Go!
I could re-roll it. Yeah, do you guys think... But what if I roll poorly and get a botch, for example? Do we want to keep 10 seconds or risk or try to get the full minute?
I would like a minute.
Okay.
I don't think 10 seconds is going to... I mean, we'll get an alpha strike off, I guess, but...
All right. Then I'll use my single re-roll for this encounter.
Yeah. Watch
and hope I get...
Like, why'd you do that? Why'd you listen to me, wife?
Yeah. No, let's see what I get.
That's on you, bro.
36 plus 2. That is terrible. Yeah. Okay. No, it's the same. It's the same. It's 11. Okay. It's 11 plus 2 is 13. So I actually got the same result, just different numbers.
Nice.
More even spread of numbers that time.
Yeah. So here's what we can say, is that as you head down, I'll give you your 10 seconds, which is basically kind of like a round, of warp senses as you come down into that room, rather than using it like walking down the tunnel and then you're like, well, that's it. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of get down, you see kind of the gist of things, and then, your warp senses kicks in, mind trick everybody, whatever's going on. What does actually warp senses look like, Dr. Monocle?
It looks like a patented powder that I've created after stealing it from a more powerful witch. But now we know how to replicate it more or less safely. Safely in quotation marks.
Nice.
Conditions apply. So yeah, no, I'm throwing. It looks like iron filings that I'm sprinkling and saying. There's an incantatory series of syllables in a foreign language. And it now is just like active camo, and I think it makes an annoying humming to the person who's camouflaged. But it's otherwise, silences and reflects back light a bit.
I love it. You got some predator, action going on.
Yeah.
As you move, you see just the little silhouette, kind of shift that you're down. So yeah, you get down to the bottom. It opens up. A lot of this room, there's a lot of small to pretty large kind of snail carcasses, in here, but they're all destroyed. A lot of them seem to even have been erupted into spikes in the same way they seem to be trying to implant other things, that they themselves have kind of succumbed, to whatever this was. There are a lot of lemur bodies also that seem to have been kind of dragged down into here, but mostly legs and, lemur butts and tails and everything. I'm going to send something into the Discord real quick as far as a picture here.
Whoa, that's not great.
I have to open Discord again.
Oh yeah. I'm like, can I? Let's see.
You can present it.
Yeah, I'm like, here. Let's see if I can make it a slide. And
You can, just do present, and then if you have it open as like a PDF or something, it'll show it, or a JPEG. Or I can also present it if that's annoying. Sorry.
No, you're good. But I have a JPEG, but it looks like it likes slides.
It likes I share JPEGs all the time. You do here. If you send me a JPEG, I can share it if you want.
Cool.
If you do present, share screen, and then just pick whatever thing you want.
Oh, nice. Sorry, I don't use.
No, you're good. Yeah. Sorry, we should have offered more. I guess this is also like would be a Roll20 thing, right?
Yeah, there were a couple of these things.
I am also going to have to run pretty soon IRL, so I don't know the best way that you guys wanted to handle this in terms of...
Should we leave on a cliffhanger and then pick
I was going to say,
up?
does this merit a part 2, or is this like, this is it, it's this disgusting creature?
Yeah.
And we need to...
Yeah, this is it. This is the end for today. So
I thought you were going to say, for you.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, maybe. For real.
I'm taking that death mark.
I can't share screen unless I reset.
If you have, I can use this. It looks like it's like I don't know if this is the image. Whatever. I'll just use this image.
Do it.
Yeah.
Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
From another IP.
Do it.
Okay, so we're gonna go with. Do you want to do like a speed? Yeah. See, it's just like low. No, maybe
it's a pretty low res. Yeah.
No, it's fine. So yeah, if you share window, it just shares like whatever.
Cool. Yeah. So.
Oh hell no.
One of these things, looks like one of these massive slugs have grown so large that it's pushed its way out of its shell. It's now 30 to 40 foot tall. And it has pulled these lemurs apart and kind of ingested them to the form to where mostly the top halves of all of them, there's like 20 or 30 of them that kind of spread out from its body. They all kind of, wave their arms, and moan. Every once in a while, it'll get close enough to something that's, been left behind, and it gets dragged into the pile and kind of pulled apart and absorbed down into this thing. The bulk of it, these kind of crab-like, spider-like arms, push it around in this room. Thankfully, with warped senses, it cannot see you. In the center of it is a very large, several foot wide lemur head, maybe what was once this lemur cryptid, and one of the legs, instead of like a spider leg, is like this giant lemur arm. You know what I mean? That it's kind of ingested to grab things and push its body around inside of this cave. There is a soft glow from the cave as there's some sort of bioluminescent kind of moss, and stuff that casts kind of weird darkish green light on everything.
Are the lemurs chanting in unison? Zaboom-a-foo, zaboom-a-foo.
The lemur, any surviving lemur would be getting out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I meant like the lemur heads and torsos. That are coming out of
the
this
lemur
thing.
heads and torsos, are all kind of animated from this thing, but they seem mostly just clutching, grabbing, and devouring. Sometimes attempting each other. Sometimes just kind of anything it can get from the pile, that's down here. And kind of pulls it on, and then it just kind of like gets pulled apart and then absorbed down into this thing as it slowly grows in mass.
I'm not gonna lie, my guy. This sucks. It's horrifying.
This thing, as you're now like wicked veil spawn 1,000%, from the other side of the veil, and has kind of like ingested and absorbed all of these snails to kind of encompass what they are and their powers and abilities, and then using that just kind of keeps adding things now, as it's taken on the properties of these snails, the lemurs, like giant spiders in the area, as it grows, larger and larger in mass. Y'all are cloaked, with the census, so it does not see you or hear you in this moment.
Wythe, did you need to run? Or
yeah, I mean, I really need to run. So I don't know the best way, you guys, if you want to do a cliffhanger and then come back to this world and learn more and flesh it out in a part 2, and Chris come up with more of what the hell is going on, or if y'all want to roll it out. But
I feel good about a part 2. We could maybe have a fight, and then what happens on the way back. How does this resolve?
Yeah, how much money do we get when we inevitably... I guess we're not going to befriend the cryptid and teach it to be our dance partner. Yeah.
I
don't want to dance with that thing.
No.
Yeah. All right, we want to call it here, and then we could come back and do, this situation, this encounter, and then see what happens.
Yeah. Maybe next time, we'll start with a little recap, and maybe if you want to do a little evocative, mood setting, like what is, maybe even the natural history of this thing, where the hell did this come from, and then we will have to stumble through, assuming we live, what are our goals as characters. Sorry to run, but this is obviously very spooky vibes, and we love some of the mechanics going on. So thank you for sharing the system with us. Is there anything? And also No Nazis in Valhalla, which is using the same system but a different game, and has some different mechanics as well. Some new pieces that is wrapped on Kickstarter. But can people find Grindcore materials at Spooky Bell on itch or elsewhere?
Or no, not yet. So right now I am working on the SRD. So I can get it up in the next probably like 2 months or so. That's just a shared document. Like you said, No Nazis of Valhalla uses, the same system mechanically with additions for its theme. And then as we head into kind of fall, winter, fourth quarter-ish time, as its own system, you'll see a Grindcore book probably come in and hit on Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah.
But then when the SRD comes out, it'll be Creative Commons, use the mechanics to write your own books, build your own systems, whatever you want to.
Cool. We'll look forward to that, and we can just keep up. Hopefully we can do a part 2 really soon of this particular encounter. Sure. But then we'll have to have you back on as you release more material. So everybody follow Spooky Bell Games.
Do it.
And do it. Look out for it. The SRD for Grindcore, No Nazis in Valhalla, and Veil Thinners all dropping soon. Anything else you guys want to plug? Anyone?
Or where can folks find you on socials, and whatnot.
Can't. We are cryptids ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I've got what's the name of the power that you just used, Wythe? What is that?
Warp senses.
It's like I've got warp senses. I can't be perceived.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my social media presence lately. No, I want to try to be a little more active. If you look up Spookyville Games, then you can find us like on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram and TikTok. Wes has got stuff out. If you look up CJ Koger, CJ Koger, or Critical Mist with a T instead of Critical Mist, you'll find me in a bunch of social medias also.
Oh yeah,
awesome, cool. Thank you for having us on, guys.
No, thank you and sorry to end on a cliffhanger, but now we have an excuse to play again. So
absolutely,
I'm gonna think more. Maybe I'll write we should all write like a 3-sentence like bio of our characters and start with this. How do we get to this point? Why are we these just abject?
You're probably wondering how I got here.
Very anime.
Yeah, I love it.
What's the song they always use in those memes too? It's like
yeah, literally the perfect way to come back to this scene also.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We freeze in horror on this monster composed of stolen lemur parts from these quasi-sapient peaceful forest beings, and then it cuts to like obviously it's like a Japanese rock song that's very light, so it's just like very upbeat, and the tone doesn't match at all, but that's this is just episode 500 of Veil Thinners or whatever. So
yeah, exactly.
Dude, that's going.
Episode was literally the flashback.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks again, Wes and Chris.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll do this again very soon.
I appreciate y'all.
All right. Peace, y'all.